Squarespace, Wix, and Weebly offer simple interfaces for building sites quickly. However, from a graphic designer's perspective, these builders are extremely limiting. Graphic designers want the freedom to place elements wherever they want. They also want to customize designs for different screen sizes. Fortunately, there are more complex website builders that are available to fill this niche, including Webflow and Editor X. These are professional-level visual development environments that will allow graphic designers to create the interface they want without knowing HTML, CSS, or other code. These more complex site builders are, well, more complex in what they offer. Via Webflow's integrations and Editor X's app market, these complex site builders integrate with additional functionality. The concept is similar to WordPress's plugins, but there are a few notable differences. A big difference is that these apps and integrations may not be specific and exclusive to one platform or another. Most notably, pricing may add up very quickly. For example, you might choose to integrate Mighty Forms with Webflow. Webflow's integrations will allow for this. But now you're paying for a subscription for Mighty Forms in addition to a subscription for Webflow. There's a smaller community of free integrations and apps for Webflow and Editor X than there is for WordPress. Webflow and Editor X also have built-in shopping carts and limited database functionality, which is often referred to as dynamic layout. Webflow and Editor X offer some collaboration features for working with developers, but they take very different approaches to how this is accomplished. Webflow will allow adding others to edit the site, and you can control who may edit designs and content separately. Code may also be exported as HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to be passed to a development team. With Editor X, it offers its own Velo framework for JavaScript to add code to the Editor X website directly. However, it's not possible to export HTML, CSS, and JavaScript from Editor X. Finally, designers may want to export designs from Figma. Editor X is currently developing a Figma plugin for this. Webflow offers several tutorials for accomplishing this task. Designers will love working with these more complex site builders, as they can build site interfaces they envision without digging deeply into HTML and CSS. To this point, we've looked at several types of tools for designing web interfaces, or the front end of the website. There's another world on the back end of the website, or the administrative side of the website. There's the programming, which often involves a database, and there are all kinds of dashboards for creating content, changing settings, and adding and removing functionality. The no-code world has several tools that address this world as well. Let's start with the one you already know, the humble spreadsheet. Arguably, it's an early no-code tool where users programmed formulas to execute calculations and configured graphs of information. Google Sheets are actively used in some applications today, notably with products like Glide and Adalo. The online spreadsheet acts as a database for storing information, with Glide and Adalo serving as an interface. When two spreadsheets talk to each other, we're approaching a database. Airtable is one of the best-known online databases available. With bright colors and a fun interface, it feels like a spreadsheet as you work with it. However, it offers features you'd expect in a database, which Airtable calls a base. Features include specifying a primary key, which is called the primary field, data types, which are called field types, and joining tables, which are called linking records. In terms of an interface for Airtable, there are several possibilities for creating this. Airtable offers a robust API, meaning it can integrate with code and with no-code solutions in many different ways. You could then use a hand-coded interface to integrate with Airtable, or you could use a no-code tool that will integrate with Airtable's API. Some of these tools integrate directly, while others require a linking application like Zapier to connect the applications. For example, You could use Webflow as your interface for your website, then use Zapier as a connection tool to integrate Airtable. Airtable offers its own interface for certain types of work. While it's not intended for building a full website, Airtable's Interface Designer may be useful for building dashboards based on the database's information, forms for recording and entering data, and other simple types of displays. Airtable is one of the most integrated technologies in the no-code world because of its ease of use and usefulness as a database. If you're looking for a way to store data for your website, or if you need to make a dashboard from a bunch of data, Airtable is an excellent choice for this work. Now let's talk about web applications and native applications. Both types of applications work on mobile devices. However, web applications run in a web browser and therefore may also run on desktop computers and laptops. Native applications are operating system specific, operating on Android or Apple devices, and generally do not run on desktops. Native applications are the ones listed in the Google Play or the App Store. If you are building an application requiring user accounts and lots of user data being manipulated and changed, you'll probably choose a web app or a native app to build it, depending on the target audience and required features and functionality. There are no-code solutions to these problems, just as there are with building websites without code. Web apps have the advantage of being able to run in any web browser on any device. If they're well-coded, they are responsive and can adapt to a variety of screen sizes. However, web apps can't access any of the hardware on the device where they're running. This means that web apps are better for manipulating data. Native apps have the advantage of accessing hardware on the device where they're located. Your bank app may have a way to deposit a check by taking a picture of it. However, native apps generally need to be listed in the Google Play and the App Store. This means that you must apply to be a registered developer, and perhaps your app won't be accepted by either store. If you don't need to access the hardware, you might be better off working with a web app in the app you're planning. For web apps, Bubble is one of the most popular and powerful choices. It includes responsive layouts, lots of template choices, ways of including different APIs from other applications, and much more. AppGyver builds React Native applications and offers similar features to Bubble, while AppGyver offers exports to Android and iOS for native app support. In addition to the default web app support, Bubble offers only web app support. Adalo and Glide, however, build Android and iOS apps exclusively. The no-code community generally views Glide as an entry-level app builder that integrates well with Google Sheets. Adalo is viewed as a step up from Glide, offering more powerful solutions. It's also worth noting that Google purchased AppSheet and offers it seamlessly in Google Sheets. Yeah, that's right. Inside of Google Sheets, there's a button that will allow you to create your own interface for that sheet using AppSheet. There are many other creation tools for web apps available in the no-code space. If you're new to app development, Glide is probably a good place to start exploring. Thank you so much for joining me in this course. I hope this overview helps you understand what's happening in the web design and development world and where you might want to spend time learning more. LinkedIn Learning offers many learning paths for exploring the topics we've discussed in this course. For example, you may look at learning paths for user experience, user interface design, content strategy, graphic design, front-end web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, search engine optimization, and so much more. These learning paths are organized so that you can learn topics from start to finish with quality instructors leading the way. You'll find me teaching courses in HTML, CSS, and no-code technologies here at LinkedIn. Have a look at my author page for a full listing of courses to see what might interest you for a next step. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you in another course shortly.